right.
Okay, welcome to episode number 40 of the Sundowners Golf Club podcast. I am Giovanni. I am your host, and I am here along with my co-host, Mr. Matt Colwell. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Just another Monday. Here we are, rocking and rolling, baby.
That's right, episode 40. It's kind of crazy. It's halfway to, or we're 10 away from the halfway point to 100. It's a lot of episodes. It's been fun. It feels like simultaneously yesterday that we started this, and at the same time, it feels like we've been at it for way too long, and we should have more listeners by now. But that's all we got. So on the PGA Tour, or in the golf world, on the PGA Tour, we had Jacob Bridgman, who finally was able to lock in a win. He was leaking some oil coming down the stretch, kind of like he did last week. He hangs on for a win despite Rory McIlroy making a 40-foot birdie putt in his face and leaving himself 3.5 feet for a putt to win the tournament. He ends up doing it. So shout out to Jacob Bridgman. Matt, what do you got?
Technicality. I believe that was a 40-foot chip in by Rory.
Yes, he did miss the green.
But
although I guess technicality. Did he putt it or did he chip it?
Well, he hit it with a putter, but it was off the green technically.
Okay. Well, I just had to make sure because I was at my sister-in-law's, or I guess the tail end of my sister-in-law's baby shower, and it was just kind of wandering around while the girls were all talking about their thing, and I was like, "Do you mind if we throw some golf on?" And she's like, "Yeah, no problem." And so I got to watch Rory's approach, Bridgman's approach, and then something was going on, so I didn't actually watch Rory's shot, but I heard it when it went in. So either way, you're right. A chip in with a putter for Rory that really kind of made it seem like he was more in contention than he was. But Bridgman seals the deal. He gets a win. He has been on an absolute heater the last few weeks. I know me and you have a short list of guys that are just floating up every leaderboard. It's Jake Knapp. It's Hitsatsun. Bridgman's one of them. They're just kind of floating around. Pearson Cootie, I think, had another top 20. Akshay Bhatia. So some of these guys that are not typical household name guys are just kind of buzzing around early this year. So kind of makes things exciting as we make our way into major season.
It was kind of fun seeing Kurt Kitayama in there too.
Was it?
We haven't called his name out this season, Mr. Kitayama.
Yeah, that was fun. I
think so. I feel like I'm used to seeing him last few years have some good rounds. I don't think we've talked about him. So when he popped up on the leaderboard, I was like, "Oh yeah, hey, there's that guy."
Yeah. I mean, he won at Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I think that was a signature event when he won it. And then he kind of went quiet for a while. I believe he might have won a fall event last year. I can't recall, but I'll admit he doesn't really move the needle one way or the other for me. Who else? So I guess we'll quickly go through the leaderboard here. Jacob Bridgman, first place. He ends up shooting a 1/72 in the final round. I believe he started with a 6-stroke lead. Am I mistaken there? He started 19 under. I think the next closest was 13. And so that gap, I think he ended up having up to a 7-stroke lead. He got down to 21 under at some point, gave some shots back, and then ends up finishing with a pretty strong 18th hole to close out the win. It was kind of cool. I just love this stuff when you hear interviews with some of these guys. What's her name? Amanda Balionis. So she had him on the green interviewing him, and he was getting really emotional. He's trying to hold back tears. Obviously, this means a lot to him. But he goes on to admit that he said, "I couldn't feel my hands for the last 3 greens," which it's kind of funny because these guys are so good. They play golf on an entirely different universe than what you and I will ever experience in our entire life. And they look pretty stinking calm, but it's kind of cool when they're candid like that to just say, "Oh yeah, you see that putt that I hit like halfway to the hole and left myself 4 feet to win? That's because I couldn't feel my hands.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, kind of raw. In a way, kind of makes you almost more happy for him for getting a win like this, especially at a place like Riviera.
Part of that, I think, a little bit different. But somebody asked him in the post round interview, what did Tiger say when he first walked up? He said, "I have no idea. I have no clue what he." He said, essentially he didn't come to and realize that Tiger was talking to him until they were walking back down and could see everybody around the green. And Tiger mentioned just how cool it is to win there and that he has one on him. And because Tiger never won this event. He's like, so I have one thing on Tiger, I guess.
That's funny. Yeah, it's funny because I mean, you and I could probably joke about, you might meet. What would you do if you met blank, right? And they'd be like, I don't know, man, I black out. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say. And like Jacob Bridgman actually did that.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, I actually met him, but I don't remember it. I don't know, just a little bit of it's just kind of I don't know, just makes him seem a little bit more humble, I guess, than what we're used to at times.
Hey, when everyone, I've talked about this a couple of times, I always think it's fun to look at is, the guy that won the round, how many days did they have the low round? And it's usually 1 is kind of the number. Sometimes you see 0. Shout out Jacob Bridgman. He had the low round twice. He had Thursday shot a 66. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys shoot a 66. You called him into action, by the way, before this tournament. Aaron Rye, Marco Penge, Rory McIlroy, and Jacob Bridgman shot 66 in round 1. And then in round 3, he was the only guy to shoot a 64. So that's how you win golf tournaments, right? I mean, and it took it because Rory was very close.
Yeah, it was funny. Me and Mario, my brother, were watching his interview, and at the end he says, I always thought it'd be easier, which I just found a kind of a funny statement. Because I like, in what world would he think it was going to be easier? But maybe what he's trying to say is, I played such good golf that I had a 6-stroke lead going into Sunday, and I still had to make a 3.5 footer to win the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everybody, there's a lot of guys playing really good golf. And there was at one point, I think I got a text from Jared. I think they were on hole 5 or 6. And he just texted, Rory has no shot. I think my response to him was like, hopefully not, because as we know, I'm not the hugest Rory guy. So I was kind of pulling for Mr. Bridgman there. But in my heart, I was like, okay, 5 is a lot, but Jacob Bridgman, no shots across this guy. This is his first PGA Tour win. I just didn't feel like he was out of the woods. I felt like this golf course, there was points to be scored, and man, he let it get pretty close, but still fun to see, even though he essentially had it in the bag so long as he made that putt. It's always fun to watch somebody have to make the putt on the 18th green. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and we were pretty close to having Jared on the podcast tonight, because at a certain point early in the week, I had said, next time you come on, let's celebrate Rory winning. And I had said, I think you might win the Genesis, so why don't you tune in? So we were 1 stroke away from a playoff and potentially having Jared Bortnowski back on the pod to celebrate another Rory win. Speaking of Rory, to continue down the leaderboard, as we mentioned, Rory McIlroy. The leaderboard makes it seem, I guess, a little closer than it was, but he went T2 with Kurt Kitayama. Adam Scott with a scorching hot 63 in the final round. I saw a chart. I can't remember who posted it, so I'm sorry. I saw a chart of his ball flight numbers, of his ball speed numbers. Tour average was 176, and it was like, of all of his tee shots that he used a driver on, they were like 184 plus. Just highlighting that he's still just the perfect golfer, handsome devil, Aussie, really nice forearms, and hits the ball really hard. So not a lot's changed for him. Did you have something on that, Matt?
You don't often see this, but I did. Adam Scott also shot 2 days worth of best score. So he had a pair of 63s on Friday and Sunday. So that's pretty cool. And nobody else did that. He had the solo best days on Friday and Sunday. Adam
Wow.
Scott, still killing it.
So another name that I guess kind of he popped off a little bit towards the end of last year, but Aldrich Potgieter with his first PGA Tour win last year. Your guy Jake Knapp finishing solo 6th, making a big bag on this one. And then just to round off the top 10, we had Colin Morikawa coming up, following up a win at Pebble Beach. Cameron Young, who I think has been kind of quiet so far this season, but kind of nice to see some signs of life of him. Tommy Fleetwood, Mr. Brandless right now, and Ryan Fox and Xander Schauffele. So all those guys were T7. And of course, notably, no Scotty Scheffler in the top 10 for the first time in 18 official PGA Tour events. Of course, he finished T12, one stroke off of top 10, but massive failure for Scotty Scheffler. He finished T12. And that's said kind of in jest, but also like the mark has moved. Like the scale is just so different for Scotty Scheffler that this is his worst finish in 20 starts. This is a failure by Scotty Scheffler metrics.
Yeah. And I feel like if my memory, without going back and looking, I feel like it's Thursdays are just killing Scotty right now. I mean, like over par rounds several times, and I haven't gone back to look, but my memory is telling me I don't know if he's been under par on Thursday.
Yeah, I could pull it up, but I know. So he at some point through 9 or 10 holes on Thursday for this tournament was tied for dead last. He was 5 over par through 10 holes. He fought his way back to 3 over, but that's an over par round. I know last week he started over par at Pebble Beach, and then again at the Waste Management Open, he started over par on a Thursday. I don't know what his actual scores were, but I do remember at the Waste Management Open, kind of like facetiously joking, like, should we be worried about Scotty?
I think you and I joked about it over text, and as soon as the text went, or maybe I thought about texting it, he decided to be Scotty Scheffler again.
Yeah, and I've been joking that he's just so good that he's intentionally playing it on hard mode. So he's like, I'm going to play 54 holes of really good golf after shooting over par on the first day. I guess in reality, to take a step back from the bit here, do you think this is a problem? Should we be worried? Is there something going on, or are you just not putting a lot of stock in 3 tough starts followed by 3 very good rounds out of Scotty?
No, Jesus Christ, no. I mean, what is his OWGR, like average points scored a week? Was he tripling Rory right now? I'm pretty sure he's tripling. So yeah, no, I'm not worried about Scotty Scheffler.
Okay, I feel like we got to ask. Like I said, it was said in jest initially, but I mean, when he sets the bar to a certain level for himself, when he doesn't meet that mark, it kind of immediately makes you think you got to ask the question. I don't think I'm worried about Scotty. I think he's just proven for a long enough amount of time that he really truly is head and shoulders better than everybody else, and I think even Scotty can afford a 1 or 2 over par round in a non-major. I think that if we get to the majors and we start, and this has become more than just a trend and it's kind of a here to stay thing, then maybe we'll talk about it. But I remember thinking the same thing last year with his putting, or maybe 2 years ago. It must have been 2 years ago. And then he switches to the TaylorMade the TaylorMade spider putter, and then he just won everything. So yeah.
We talked about him last week. I want to name this the Yikes Watch. JJ Spawn missed a cut +4, 74-72. So he's still on Yikes Watch.
Yeah, it's like we talked about before, it's the you win a major and then you get uncomfortable in your own skin sort of thing. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's worth taking a quick gander down this cut list. There was At a certain point when I was watching on the, like, I was keeping updated on the PGA Tour leaderboard, it showed the projected cut line at whatever it was, and it only showed 2 people missing the cut.
Yeah.
And so did I miss something there, or was that maybe just because the cut was just being established early on a Friday?
So I remember reading it and before the round, and then they talked about it. There was like 3 or 4 different qualifiers for what determined the cut. And one of them was within 10 strokes of the lead. And I think at the time when they were showing that, nobody had really made had pulled away very strongly. And so at the time, there was just nobody was being disqualified. And so it was just the 2. But by the time everything ended, we obviously got cut down to 50. So, or a little over 50. Is it 52? Something like that? Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I might, just for kicks, share this screen here. We can look at it together. There's a little page here that talks specifically about this rule. So we've got the Genesis Invitational's cut mark will come after 36 holes to see the top 50 players and ties from the 72-man field making it through the weekend. I don't think that's very different than a normal tournament, that
Right.
in particular. Anyone outside the top 50 and ties, but within 10 strokes of the leader, will also make it through to the final 2 rounds. So there could be plenty more than 50 players in action for the weekend. Okay, so as long as you're not more than 10 strokes back, regardless of your position, you're in. So I guess that explains why at that particular time there was only 2 people outside of the cut line.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I had it. There you go.
Yeah, you were right. Shout out to you, Matt.
Sometimes it happens.
Now, and we gave him a pass last week, and I think he deserved the pass. But do you have any sort of inclination or worries or concerns about Chris Gotterup missing the cut?
That one was a little bit more of a bummer to see. I'm not going to lie to you. I was going to bring him up. It just he couldn't putt. He was bad around the greens and he couldn't putt. I mean, you can't be bad at both of those things and have success. So, yeah, that's a bummer, man. I mean, 2 wins out of 3, and then he's a T37 and a missed cut. So am I worried? No, but I don't know, for a guy that I think could end up being, a long-standing guy in the top 20. Yeah, that sucks to see.
Yeah,
but it's very. I mean, it's what is this? This is tournament 5 for him this season.
Yeah,
one miscut.
I'm not worried about him either. For you, I'm not worried about him. He did fall 1 spot in the FedEx Cup rankings. Does that concern you at all? He's number 2 now.
Yeah, I mean, he's missing that bag now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I think I don't know if this kind of stuff is going to affect him. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's really going to get twisted up in a single stumble like this. So I think he had a pretty good showing at the Cognizant last year, if I remember right. So maybe we see a T10 here, a big turnaround.
Well, we are officially 45 days away from the Masters. So obviously he'll be playing in the Masters this year with his exemptions after winning on the PGA Tour. So as long as he finds his right form, come mid-March, then I wouldn't be too worried about it. Obviously, he's shown us quite a bit already this year. Also, I think the greens at Riviera, what are they, like a POA? Is that what they kept saying? They're a POA type grass, which tend to have this kind of plinko effect a little bit on like the downhillers, or if you're lagging putts in, and you could tell that a lot of guys weren't really familiar with that, or that at times they just seemed a little uncomfortable with that. In fact, they had Trevor Immelman had questioned Tiger Woods, asking about, you've been so good at putting on POA throughout your career. Like, how do you do it? What's your process? And Tiger essentially said, unless I have a downhill slider, I'm pounding the ball into the hole. I'm essentially eliminating the chance of a plinko effect. even if it means having a 3-footer. And you could tell that not a lot of guys really adopted that model. I think they approached with caution more so than anything.
Yeah, I mean, Rory talked about it. He had a bunch of missed putts, and what he mentioned was, he'd take a look at what he thought that the break was going to do, and then he'd watch his playing partner go, and he would take that into his read, and he was just giving the greens a little bit more credit. And he said, maybe I should have just hit the ball where I thought it should go in the first place. And maybe we're talking about a different winner,
Yeah, honestly. Speaking of that, just for kicks, how many followers on Instagram do you think Jacob Bridgman has?
I'm gonna say more than us.
That's correct.
I'm gonna say 2,400.
Well, he actually has 11,000. On the Google, like when you Google a person's name and it shows their Instagram account, like right here on the link says 6.4 thousand. So he must have acquired quite a few over the last little bit of stretch of time. But do you know anything about Jacob Bridgman? Was he on your radar? Did you see this coming? Would you have ever predicted this? Like, how do you feel about Jacob Bridgman winning this thing?
I don't know if I saw this coming. I mean, he's a name that I have seen on the leaderboard in the past. I guess I don't know. I guess indifferent, neutral on Jacob Bridgman. You?
It's kind of funny. I have up until him winning, Jacob Bridgman and Max Grazerman were the same human being in my brain, because I couldn't tell you what either of them looked like, but like if I spotted them, I could tell you which one it was. But when I see their name on the leaderboard, they were one and the same. But I know like Bridgman to me would be maybe of course I know that name because I watch golf a lot. But I couldn't spot him. I know that as of the last few weeks, you and I brought him up a lot just because he's been floating around a lot at the start of this year. But no, I don't think I ever would have guessed. In fact, I was a little bit on the side of I wasn't rooting for him to blow the lead, but I'm like, if anybody's going to blow a 6-stroke lead, it's going to be a guy like Jacob Bridgman, right?
Right.
So but I don't know. It makes me like look back in hindsight and say, gosh, he's had a lot of really good finishes this year. Maybe he's just like peaking. We should keep an eye on him for
top 20s. All top 20s. T4 at Sony, 13 at American Express, T18 at Waste Management, 8 at Pebble Beach, and then 1.
Yeah.
So
that's a heck of a season. That's a heck. I mean, you're talking about Jake Knapp. I mean, Jake Bridgman kind of blows him out of the water, and I don't mean that to be silly, but obviously Jake Knapp's a little bit more of a common name, but Jacob Bridgman is just silently knocking off a win, top 5s, top 10s to start the season. So I don't know. It kind of feels like we got to keep our head on a swivel for this guy for this season, like more so than other first-time winners.
I mean, he's currently, I think the earnings this last week for him was $4 million. But so he currently leads the PGA Tour money list at $5.2 million. So coming into this, he was a little over $1 million this year already. So yeah, he's doing pretty good this season. Pretty good.
That's right. That's right. So that is the second signature event of the year. We went back to back, I guess, just to polish off some of the Genesis Invitational stuff or PGA Tour stuff. Next week, we've got the Cognizant Classic, followed by yet another signature event, the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill Club. So that's another signature event. Another kind of thing of note-ish, I guess, was I just had this thought. This was the event that Tiger was at and hosting when he had that car accident that felt like not that long ago, but was this 7 years ago? How long ago was this car accident?
Has it been 7 years? No.
2021. Okay. But I just thought it was of note that like, I remember watching that event back in 2021 and just thinking he looks unwell on
Yeah.
the broadcast, and lo and behold, he ends up, crashing his car. It was rumored he may have been on some sort of, pain meds for some stuff he had going on. He looks pretty good, I think. They had him in the booth. He was pretty chatty. He's a little bit socially awkward at times and sweaty as always, but he looks good.
And didn't he make hint towards the Masters being a possibility for him this year?
He did. I also saw some transcripts of him saying playing on the Champions Tour is not necessarily out of the question. Granted, it was a transcript, so it could have been tongue in cheek when he said essentially, riding around in a cart on the Champions Tour actually sounds pretty nice. So who knows what we'll see in Tiger's future? I guess just from a human standpoint, it's good to see him looking good.
I think it was a podcast with, it may have been the Subpar podcast. I think they had Pat Perez on there, and he was talking about Tiger, that he's confident, not just kind of playfully, but he's like, Tiger will play in the Champions Tour because nobody's ever won, the 4 majors, and then won the senior majors is also. It's like, so it's an opportunity for him to do something that nobody's done. He's like, so there's no way he's not going to try to do that. So that'd be kind of sick. I mean, could you imagine being three-time junior AM, 3-time AM, all the majors, and then just go win the majors in the senior tour too? It's sick.
And you know what? I bet he'd have fun doing it. He'd have fun doing it. I mean, that's kind of the dream life anyway, right?
He could ride a cart in the senior tour. That's allowed.
Let's ask. Can you ride? I know John Daly did at some point, but I think there's usually like an injury thing.
Yeah, I thought it was a medical exemption essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. Player can ride in or move a golf cart with another player in it as long as the player's caddy is not riding in another cart. Yeah, who knows? I got some articles here from 2007 about the Senior Champions Tour cart policy. I got a YouTube clip here. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna say yes. Yes, you can. Okay,
I'm in.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest. If you came to me and said, "Hey, the only way Tiger gets to play in the senior tour is he has to ride in a cart and nobody else gets to ride a cart," you know what I'm going to say? Yes, he's in.
Yeah.
And it's because it's Tiger Woods, and sometimes people make exemptions for things. So I'm in. Let him ride.
Yep. And I was
watching him sweat and be in excruciating pain walking down the fairway. It's not an image I need in my head again. Because
Yep. I hope we see him at the Masters. I think it might be considered complaining, but I don't really mean it that way because every time Tiger is playing in a tournament, it creates this massive buzz around him. Like, how's he doing? Does he still have it? How'd they do in the PNC Championship? How's Charlie doing? And it's just kind of a feeling of hope. And it always ends up being a bit of a letdown. But I kind of love it. It's like a love-hate thing. It gets my mom asking about Tiger, and it gets her reminiscing about stuff. And so it's just fun when he's playing golf. Golf is just more fun because it just creates a buzz that we otherwise don't get most of the time. So I look forward to it. Matt, I have one other thing on pro golf before we can go in any direction we want, but I didn't watch any of the Kenya Open except this Kenyan golfer who is the only Kenyan to make the cut at the Kenya Open. 22-year-old Njoroge Kibugu. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but there was a really cool clip of him needing birdie on the 18th hole on Friday. Ends up hitting a 7-iron to what appeared to be 4 or 5 feet. Made the eagle putt to make the cut, and he had the crowd behind him. It just was a cool, fun moment. It just kind of blew up on Instagram. Just love to see that stuff. I didn't follow anything else other than that, but I guess while we're here, we'll go ahead and congratulate Casey Jarvis, South African golfer. Matt does not like Casey Jarvis. He already told me, but congrats to the South African for the win.
This Matt or a different Matt?
No, sorry. I just had listeners were tuning in saying, why doesn't Matt like the South African? No, I'm talking about Matt, my co-host. He doesn't like South Africans because he doesn't like Gary Player. And he's xenophobic.
I will readily admit it. I am not pro Gary Player. That's true. But I have no beef with South Africans unless you associate yourself closely with Gary Player. And then for that reason and that reason only, I don't like you. It's more of a Gary Player phobic. Is that you say that? Am I allowed to say that?
You can say whatever you want. This is our show.
Yes, I'm not. I mean, come on. Nobody who pays attention is a Gary Player guy. They're like, I like Gary Player. He's a neat dude. He's a jerk.
I don't know. I feel like my mom might like Gary Player.
That's because she doesn't know that
grandma.
He's a jerk.
Yeah, he's just a cute 94-year-old that still lifts weights.
I mean, that's cool. Like, there's cool things to admire about him for sure. Like, that's an impressive thing. Like, good for him. But just shush, I guess.
Yep.
Go Casey Jarvis.
I got a question for you. Going back to Riviera, I got 2 questions about it. One, and let's do one first.
Yeah.
So we saw the clips throughout the early week down there in LA of Riviera with just some waterfalls and some floods and some rivers going through it. So obviously they had a lot of moisture there. And there were a lot of mud balls, a lot of plugged balls in the fairway, a lot of plugged balls in the green.
A lot of plugged balls on the green.
Does that change anything for you? And I'm not talking about asterisks next to wins, but like it just felt like it kind of shaped a certain kind of leaderboard that we usually don't get at a tournament like this. Did that diminish your experience watching this? Did it change anything for you, the conditions being soft like that?
I'm going to be really honest with you, and this is true across the board. A lot of the time, I am not really listening to what the broadcasters are saying on when I'm watching golf. Not because I have some beef, but I mean, most of the time, right? I have the kiddos and this and that. So golf is on, but I don't usually have them on. So when it comes to that stuff, I don't even realize it's an issue until somebody mentions it. So I have to say no, because I was watching the golf tournament, and outside of Adam Scott's shot that plugged right next to the cup, it didn't really occur to me that it was a thing going on, and maybe I'm completely oblivious. But no, it's one of those things, like everybody's dealing with the same conditions. So is it a factor? Is it going to do something to how people play? Sure. But does it affect my enjoyment? Hardly.
Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't necessarily affect my enjoyment either, but I just think I'll say it felt a little bit of a letdown, slightly, only because this tournament, this specific golf course, is kind of held to a certain regard. It's among a lot of these guys' favorite courses that they play, and it's got like a certain amount of bite to it, and I think that's why these guys like it. That's why we like watching it. And it felt like some of the bite was gone. It was more of a toothless bite, playing soft like it was. And it just at times seems like when you have these really soft conditions that it kind of numbs the field a little bit. Like it just kind of it narrows the field so much to where I think it's just harder to separate, right? And at least in my eyes. And so it does seem like there are guys that are in the mix that maybe otherwise wouldn't be. And it's more of a me thing, I guess. But when it's not playing firm and fast, and you can just kind of throw a dart up to that level that the flag's at, and not have to worry about the spin, not have to worry about the rollout or the bounce or whatever it is, it just makes it a little bit easier. So guys like Ryan Fox can hang, and Aldrich Potgieter can hang, and I was going to say Alex Noren, but he had a pretty good last year. Kurt Kitayama can hang. So anyhow, that's a me problem. Still love the golf tournament, but I would have loved to see it play a little bit firmer and drier.
So this, I'm just going to throw this out because I'm curious because you brought it up. This year, Jacob Bridgman won 18 under. Margin was 1 shot. Ludwig Oberg, 12 under last year, won by 1 shot. Hideki Matsuyama won by 3 shots at 17 under. John Rahm minus 17, won by 2 shots. Joaquin Niemann, 19 under. Homa, 12 under. So we're kind of right in the, I don't know, just the winner's score, right? I'm not looking at the field, obviously, but there's a lot of scores that are pretty close to what we saw Bridgman shoot. So he wasn't, absurdly lower than anyone else. I mean, going back like throughout history, he's on the lower end, but it's not extreme. I don't know. So yeah, I stick with my opinion. I think it's just golf. I don't know. I think I notice things like that more when it's extremely difficult and you see a guy in the middle of the fairway hitting, an 8-iron or a 9-iron, and the ball hops and rolls a bit and there's no bite, and because the greens are hard and fast. Like, I notice that stuff way more than I notice slow and sticky and muddy. Right.
Well, I mean, like I said, it didn't diminish my experience watching the tournament, right? It still is a really cool event to watch. It's one of those, the course is the main event type events. So yeah. The other one I have is, so you just listed a pretty long list of names of golfers that kind of have a certain prestige to them, I guess you might say. Ludwig Aberg kind of quickly moved himself into the elite category. Hideki Matsuyama, Max Homa. Who else did you have on that list?
Homa, Adam Scott, JB Holmes. Didn't go down that far. Bubba Watson, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson again.
Okay. I wish you didn't mention JB Holmes, but he's a ball striker. He's a ball striker, but this event does seem to have like an allure around, it's kind of like a big boy course only. And I know we were kind of pumping Jacob Bridgman's tires, but do you have any feelings about it in that way because Jacob Bridgman won and not a bigger name? Does it change anything for you?
Like the prestigeness of this tournament?
Not like the event as a whole, but just like this time. Do you feel like kind of disappointed that a guy like Jacob Bridgman won versus?
No. I mean, the guy, like we just mentioned just a few minutes ago, I mean, this is his 5th top 20 this season. So the dude's on fire. And so when you zoom out just for a second, just looking at the season, you look at through that lens, you go, yeah, okay, that's not really that shocking that Jacob Bridgman won a golf tournament, right? Yeah. I mean, if a guy's ripping off top 20s, it's you probably start putting chips in his place to win a tournament. I mean, you and I have an active bet at Luke Clanton or Jake Knapp will win a golf tournament first, right? Like, I like my odds here with how many times Knapp's been in the top 20. So it's just it's one of those things. So no. And plus, you look at the leaderboard outside of Jacob Bridgman. Again, no disrespect to Jacob Bridgman. There's still some names, if you're a golf fan, that were right there. We got to watch Scotty Scheffler come back and almost get back into the top 10. Rory McIlroy was right there. Adam Scott was on a heater. Cameron Young, I mean, Colin Morikawa coming off a win, another top 10. Tommy Fleetwood's there. Everybody loves him. So no, this is fun. Jordan Spieth is starting to be a dominant putter again. He's got a top 12. No, this is good. I love this. And there's names for the sickos that were in there, right? Like, I say that, and I was about to name a name that everybody loves, but
Marco
getting into
Penge.
golf, Aldrich Potgieter from last year, right?
Mhm.
If you love golf, you're paying attention to that guy. I almost drafted him in our little thing. Aldrich Potgieter almost made my draft.
Sammy Valimaki, number one Valimaki podcast.
Akshay Bhatia, I think he's started to make a name for himself for the casual golf fans, but he's there. Robert McIntyre is one of those guys that's fun to watch. Everybody likes him. So this is a fun tournament despite the limited field. And the watching Riviera Country Club play on TV is nice. I mean, it's very pretty. I think I said to you, this might be one of my favorite 18th holes that we get to watch. Like, I love that hole. It's pretty cool. If I was bidding a golf course, it might look like that.
It is an awesome 18th hole. So hold on. Okay, so that's what we got for pro golf. How's your game looking? Have you played any golf yet this year? Do you have any plans to play golf yet?
So I would like to play this coming weekend. My kiddos, I will not be with the kiddos. I'm going up to Spokane on Saturday, I believe. That's if I'm not playing golf Saturday, I'm going to Spokane. And then I would like to play Sunday. I haven't looked at the weather yet, so I want to play this weekend. And when I do, I believe that'll be my first round since what month is it? It's February now. Maybe October.
Since you last played?
Since I last played 18 holes.
Yeah, I got to get back out there at some point. I mean, I've got a trip kind of baked in coming up here soon. We're going to
you lucky duck
conference in Arizona, so I'll be going to Phoenix on the 5th, playing golf at Grass Clippings. Hoping to meet Scotty Hebert there with the Grass Clippings Rolling Hills team. So we'll be playing golf there on Thursday night under the lights. Friday we're playing Whirlwind. Saturday we're playing a tournament at Verado. Sunday, we are potentially playing TPC Scottsdale. If we don't, we're playing Dinosaur Mountain. So we got a lot of golf coming up there. Otherwise, I don't have a lot of plans to play. We're kicking around the idea of playing this weekend, but I don't think we're going to do that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a clue where my game's at. Not a clue. This is the time of year where I find out if I'm hitting a draw or a fade for the season. When you show up to the first tee and you fade it.
I've been imagining my swing constantly for the past, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months. I've probably taken 1,000 ghost swings in my living room here. So hopefully those eyes closed daydreams come true on the course.
You know, I do quite a bit of putting. I say a lot. I think I putt frequently. I just don't do a lot of it. I'll do it for a few minutes at a time. I'll pull out the putting mat and roll in. It's what I call the gauntlet. I'll hit a putt from 2 feet. If I make it, I'll go to 3, then to 4, then to 5, then to 6, then to 7, then to 8. Go back down to 2, and I'll see how many times I can do that.
Go back and forth. Yeah.
I'll do it for about a minute and a half, and then I'll get bored and put it away.
Well, that's more putting than I've been doing, so you've got me on that.
Yep.
That's probably the thing that I need to work on the most.
Do you have any major golf goals this year?
You know, as much golf as I've played, I've only shot 1 round of par in my life. So I would like to shoot around under par this year. I think that would be my season-long goal. I have on a couple occasions been under par through 9 holes. I think I was 3 under on the back 9 at not Canyon Lakes, at Columbia Point. I think I've done that twice. I think I've been under 2 under on the back 9 at Sun Willows a couple times. But I always start off rough. Like, it's just my MO. I don't know if I've talked about it on here. I know you know the story, but the first time I shot a round of par, I doubled the first hole and then got a bogey on the second. I mean, so I'm standing on the third tee box, 3 over. There's no chance I was thinking I'm shooting under par there, right?
Yeah.
So funny enough, I birdied the third hole, and this is at Sun Willows. So not an easy birdie there. So I was like, oh, maybe there's something going on.
That's funny. So your goal is to get under par this year.
I would like to shoot under par this year.
Okay. We'll have to keep our eye on it. Well, Matt, I may have to wrap it up a little early tonight. Like I said before, coming up, we got we're just right around the corner for major season. It's a holiday coming up on April 9th, which is, of course, the Thursday of the Masters. It's my favorite week of the year. So we've got that right around the corner. And then coming up, we've got the Cognizant Classic coming up next weekend on the PGA Tour. So stay tuned for more, and we'll be chatting next week to do a recap.
Whoop.
All right. We will talk soon.
See ya.